I almost started tearing up, and I don't even know these people.
Welcome back to Funeral Directors React. My name is Bree. I'm a funeral director at Return Home. We compost people, and next to me is
Rain Gomez.
Rain is joining me today because we are going to be reviewing some Marvel Cinema funerals, and we're going to dissect them from both the perspective of someone who's a huge Marvel Universe fan and somebody who's never seen a Marvel movie ever. We're going to start with Tony Stark's funeral. I would argue one of the more influential funerals and important funerals of the entire thing, right? You don't know how Tony died.
No, I have no idea. Also, already I'm seeing this spray, is there an urn that's going to be set in the middle?
Oh. So yeah, you were right in saying that there would normally be something in the middle of an arrangement like that. That is the arc reactor. That was the thing that kept Tony's heart pumping while pulling the metal away from his heart that he was pumped full of in the first movie, actually.
Okay.
So yeah, proof that Tony Stark has a heart. I kind of like how natural the wreath looked too. It wasn't too gaudy.
Yeah.
We're going through the Avengers, all the characters that you kind of meet throughout the series, and almost in order in a way. Kind of. Or the people who mattered most, maybe in the front. He had a very close relationship with Spider-Man.
I will say they're very well dressed. Wearing all that black.
It's pretty impactful. The Guardians. He and Nebula were abandoned in space together for a while too. It's kind of cool throughout the series how you see the one movie turn into an entire franchise and everyone ends up connected in the end.
One thing I do notice is there are no tissues or handkerchiefs or...
That's an interesting point. One could say that all of the tears that could be cried have been. Because again, this is after the snap. So the location of the funeral ceremony or this memorial service is the cabin in which he and his family goes and kind of disappears to. There's a really big happening in one of the films where a lot of people get wiped out and Tony and his family just kind of disappear to this cabin after it happens, and he kind of gives up on what he had intended to be like the protection of the world. Some of the Avengers come and kind of reignite his knowledge and his passion. They do a little time travel, and then...
So what happened to his body? Was it just that heart piece that was left?
So he died in outer space-ish. No, he died on Earth, but with outer space influence. And he basically, from what it seems like, kind of melted from the inside a little bit.
Okay.
He does an act that he sacrifices his body for.
Oh.
And it's not a big spoiler. I mean, this is so many years later that if you watch the movies, Tony dies. It's just part of the series. I cried way more during when he was dying than during his funeral in the actual films. I like that you noticed how well dressed everybody was, because I think that's kind of the point of that scene, is to show everybody kind of matured and put together after that entire series happens. And now that we're done with Tony's funeral, we're actually going to jump to my favorite Avengers funeral that's ever existed. This is Yondu's funeral.
Whoa. Is that the future of cremation?
Mm-hmm. Best soundtracks. I mean, all the movies have great soundtracks, but the Guardians movies are next level. That baby Groot.
It's not time to make
They're doing what we're doing.
I
I was gonna say twinsies.
Take it easy. You're still young. That's your fault. There's so much you have to know. Find a girl,
Oh, it's cute.
if you want.
Well, I mean, that's something, I guess, universal, like people using music to help grieve and remember their lost loved ones.
Yeah.
I was once like you are now.
They
And I
came.
know that it's not easy to be calm when you found something going on.
What is it?
But take your time.
I sent word to Yondu's old Ravager buddies and told them what he
Think of
did.
Everything you've got for you will.
So for context, the Ravagers are the group of people that Yondu worked for previously. And there's a lot of lore behind why he's not in good standing with them. But basically, he was kind of estranged from them because of Peter, because of the connection that he has with Star-Lord in the film. So basically, the whole time there's like this kind of father-son relationship. But you don't find out toward a little bit later that he's ostracized from his group of people he used to work for. Rocket, the little raccoon, reached out to his friends. And even though he was estranged, they have come to acknowledge his loss.
Yeah.
And
And that, pretty common standard for when people will have like a procession with cars is what it kind of reminded me of.
also, yeah, let's talk a little bit about the cremation in the beginning. I think that's kind of interesting.
Was he literally being turned back to like stardust?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the idea. Is they're kind of like nebulized or something like that. Like they're like broken down into particles.
I wonder what the temperature is for that. I bet it's way higher than the 1450.
Yeah, well, yeah. So crematories run about 1450. Mine ran at like 1600 degrees, but usually that lasts for like 2 hours, 2.5. Sometimes we just saw Yondu's body break down in a matter of like less than 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So he was completely vaporized and turned back into stardust.
It's
Yeah.
a Ravager funeral.
But your dreams may not. How can I try to explain? When I do, he turns away again.
And that was his most loyal compadre the whole time. Best friends.
Same old story.
Yep.
From the moment
Why?
I was on
Coming in with the tissues.
down after all, Captain.
no, it
It's so good.
He did not.
go away. I know I have to go.
Fare thee well, old friend.
Yondu, Doctor,
Everybody honors him.
I will see you in the stars.
Oh.
He didn't chase him away,
No,
even though he yelled at him. And was always mean. And he stole batteries he didn't need.
well, of course not.
And it's so like the little animal or the kid to make the rounds. Like to want to get a hand on everybody, and comfort everybody who's hurting.
Just sit down, take it slowly. You're still young, that's your fault. There's so much you have to go through.
They're romantically linked.
I was wondering what those eyes.
Can you tell?
Yeah.
A little tension.
Can marry, look at me. I am old, but I'm happy.
Another thing I noticed, again, the scene, no tissues, no like obvious tears, but we're getting some welling up of the eyes.
Yeah, definitely the theater. I mean, sobbage. Hardcore sobbage. From me, at least.
But it's them they know, not me. Now there's a way, and
But to
I
me,
know that I have to go.
that is something else.
I know
Yeah, wow.
I have to go.
And I know that is a thing that some people can do with some of their like cremated remains or what have you. It's like putting them into fireworks.
Yeah,
So
you can do that. You can also get your ashes sent into space. It's a thing that exists now as a service. So I don't think it would quite be that magnificent. That's something else. But if I go out, like my ideal way would be to turn to stardust and then have a bunch of people light crazy, colorful, beautiful things like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty special. And actually, it is interesting that you point out no tears again, because Rocket is the only one who cries.
Yeah.
And he's CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you think?
I mean, they're both beautiful in their own rights. I liked what the Tony Stark one, just how like sentimental that was with the location being in nature. But then this one, like amazing with the fireworks and then having all these people come by that maybe they weren't expecting as many people to come by to honor him. I almost started tearing up, and I don't even know these people. That's why I'm a little surprised that like why is there not more crying and tissues involved in these scenes?
It does, it like pulls something out of you even if you don't have context, because the honoring itself is just so beautiful. And actually one of my favorite parts of these films is that like human aspect that they bring, and I think they do actually do that by having characters die off, but not always in like a dramatic way. Yondu's death was not particularly dramatic. It was actually just him and it was him and Peter, and they were just in the space together, and he just kind of passes away, and it's like not epic at all.
Oh.
And then his funeral is just this beautiful epic moment. So yeah, I think they do a really good job of just like making it really human, and then giving everybody their flowers, you know. I think
What a contrast though between the first one and the second one, with an epic death versus like a more subtle like service, and then the second one where you're saying it wasn't as epic of a death, but like wow, the like, you know, funeral service or what have you was like literally out of this world.
yeah, stunningly beautiful.
Yeah.
Definitely my favorite funeral. But Frigga is Thor and Loki's mother.
Okay.
She is extremely supportive and just such a cool mom, and you see that throughout the series, but really her death is extremely impactful. And being Thor and Loki's mom, she is also Odin's wife, so this is a big death in the series.
Oh wow.
Right off the bat, that overhead shot reminds me of a vessel, kind of.
Yeah, and I really like how they veiled her face.
Can you
You're
pull
still
back?
able to see it. But I do appreciate too, a lot of people will be like, oh, Viking funeral. But like, honestly, Vikings, it was for their like top king and queens that were actually the ones put into a boat and sent off to sea. It wasn't for like, you know, your average Viking. So it's nice that they're honoring her in that way that they had, you know.
Like it's fitting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I loved the veil too.
Yeah.
I loved her like armored corset and her, what do they call these?
I don't know. It was like arm guards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that she's armored out, but the contrast between that she's wearing her armor and she has the sword, and then all of these like soft fabrics and soft flowers and like just this, I feel like that kind of speaks to the series a little bit. Like it's got these like really sentimental, warm, and then there's also this like aspect where, you know, it's hard and cold, and they do so much visual representation of how you're feeling in that moment. I think they did a beautiful job. I think the colors are beautiful.
It's a lot of orchids.
God, it's gorgeous, isn't it? How do you feel about like the preparation of the body?
It's so funny because that's what I was looking at. As a funeral professional, I'm like, did they put the veil on her to cover up something that they couldn't correct when it comes to the face?
That's interesting.
Yeah. And then I see the hands. I'm like, are they covering up, you know, maybe something going on with that bottom hand?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm wondering how they're positioning underneath the arms. Like, what do they have in place there to be able to make sure that it's going to stay?
That's how I feel. They're bracers, I remember now.
Okay.
And it's interesting to me because that was one of the thoughts that I had, was like how they're supporting the arms with how heavy those bracers are, because I feel like they would kind of tend to like maybe pull the hands down a little bit. So to me, my perspective is that she may have been embalmed or preserved in a way so that she's holding that pose, because it's a very, very stiff and specific pose. Her features are very well set. So in my funeral director eyes, I see somebody who was embalmed, which would be the first case that we've seen of that this time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I love this. It's so beautiful.
Also, no tissues again.
I know.
Oh, okay. They're doing it.
Good shot.
For real.
Darn impressive. I think a lot of people want to go out this way.
Mm-hmm.
And behind her, the soldiers who also lost their lives.
Oh, wow. Okay. What?
More stardust.
Yeah. Those are very reminiscent of like paper lanterns.
Mhm. I've seen this like 17 times and I still get goosebumps. To me, it's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And then this part now is where her other son Loki, who's imprisoned right now, is being told that she died.
Oh. Which, in a lot of cases, when someone is in prison, sometimes they do have that opportunity to be released or be able to, you know, partake in the funeral service. But I imagine with Loki, he's probably way too powerful to let him out of whatever they have him in.
Yeah, unfortunately at this point he's still being a total turd, so
Okay.
and he's not supposed to be able to use his powers. That's like a power suppressant.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was feeling. So it seems like it wasn't much, but that's a sad boy.
So I did notice when she turned into that stardust, the first shapes that appeared looked a lot like the flower, like inlays that were on top of her.
Oh, I didn't notice
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I want to see that again. Let's see. I always loved that. He had the final.
So there you go.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Beautiful service though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the way that they honor their dead. We're now jumping into King T'Challa. Black Panther is an interesting story because he's been throughout the Marvel universe. He's been around, but Chadwick Boseman, the gentleman who played him, actually died in real life.
Yeah, I know that much. I've never seen any of the Black Panther movies, but I know like the actor himself had passed, so I always wondered how they were going to like portray that.
Right. So that's basically Wakanda Forever being the second Black Panther movie. He wasn't able to participate in. He is in other like Avengers films, so he's in other films in the franchise, but he died before they were able to get this filming wrapped and everything. So this is his honoring. We'll just jump right in.
Yetu senza umbulelo ingesipho sekumkani yetu utachala unyama omnyama i-Black Panther ewe nyama unyama kakumkani utachaka ewe nyama unyana wekumkani usholanishwa kakhulu ubashenga unyama i-Black Panther yokuqala amaku
I do like the use of the pallbearers.
Yeah.
Again, we have everyone wearing the same color, this time white,
Did you notice anything else about the pallbearers?
that they were all females.
Yes.
Yeah, which I love that because whenever I would have to stand in as a pallbearer, I would have people like, "Oh, really? You can lift that? Like, are you sure you don't want me to do it?" And I'm like, "Sir, I got it."
To be fair, Rain is also very petite.
I am 4'11".
There's a full foot height difference between the two of us. It's great. Yeah, that is one point to be made, right? Women in Wakanda's culture are extremely valued, involved. They're warriors. They're ministers. They're what, their equivalent is. They run a lot of the things that happen in Wakanda. Women do. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
And then it's cool that he has a whole like coffin. It's like, you know, that shape, but then also reminiscent of like a death mask on top of it.
Yeah. It kind of gave me Han Solo vibes a little bit the first time I saw it. What I think is so special about this is how reverent they made it for both actor and like they really acknowledged him, like by putting his face on a mural and, you know, having him be present still in that way. And I think it was really emotional for fans. I think it was like we got to also participate in a way with kind of like seeing him to the other side or something. I don't know. But I sobbed. It was very upsetting. And you also see him go through so much to get to where he is too, like as a character. So I think that also is heartbreaking, you know.
I wonder if like the community themselves like actually work together to make this coffin.
Yeah, I'm assuming that I mean, they have a lot of resource there and like they've got all of these technologically advanced, you know, metals and things that they can work with, and they're also just themselves incredibly intelligent. Like the sister who's crying is an absolute genius, you know. But the part that I find the most interesting about Wakanda is that dichotomy between like how advanced they are and then how they still have these like her earrings are clearly made of a bone. They've got like the tribal beautiful influence of like that African culture that feels more humble and less advanced. So it's again that like soft
juxtaposition.
Yeah. Rain, you can tell our viewers the difference between a casket and a coffin.
All right, so we have a casket, think more like a rectangular shape. So basic rectangular shape. When we look at a coffin, for instance, this one specifically, it has that, excuse me if I get this word wrong, is that arthropodic shape, where that means it follows the form of a human. So you see it more narrow at the top of the head, tapers out slightly to the shoulders, and then narrows slightly down to follow towards the feet.
I think about it in the way of two caskets will have hardware and like liners, and they'll be a little bit more like decorated, if you will, whereas coffins are usually more simple. Like this is a good example of one that would be a little bit more adorned than a typical coffin you would see. Coffins are obviously what like Dracula would go into, that I say anthropoidal, but whatever that shape is,
Yeah.
where it's shoulder to feet. But yeah, that's the difference. And he was placed in a coffin, and it's an actually beautifully adorned, really cool.
Yeah. Is that ship supposed to look like a whole mask?
That's what I was thinking too, right? Yeah. It's giving face. And in stark contrast to Tony Stark, in stark contrast, all white as opposed to all black.
Yeah.
And I actually think that the creators of the movie and the film did that intentionally, because I think it was really to honor the life instead of focusing on the death. And that's how I feel about the color white at funerals. It's like, that's more of a, I'm celebrating the life than I'm grieving the death. I'd love to hear your perspective on the funerals you just watched and you know, not knowing Marvel and just kind of coming in cold. Any perspective you have and observations, I'd love to hear.
I find it interesting because it really holds true that within human history and honoring, celebrating, grieving someone's death, we all do it in a pretty similar fashion throughout history, life, media. So it's all a like pretty standard basic formula, but then done in a specific way to like honor that person that they lost. I didn't notice the tissues in this one either, but there was definitely, I saw actual crying, but that might also be because, you know, the actor himself has died as well. So I'm thinking those are like some real tears.
Yeah, I think you're right. As somebody who's never gotten into the films, and, you know, I know you're not a big movie watcher, but does it make you interested to see them or to like interact with them more, just based on the fact that they do kind of acknowledge these things on a regular basis? Like it's a regular theme that they're having funerals in these films.
I actually now want to watch more of the Thor movies because I was like, that one was my favorite funeral. But then this one as well, like I just love the juxtaposition we were talking about earlier with like, we see this high-tech stuff in the background, but then also just like very traditional as well. So I like seeing that contrast and would be interested in learning more about this world.
Yeah, Wakanda's super cool.
Especially the lady led. I was like, whoa, it's like a matriarchy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's going to wrap us up. We have watched through 4 Marvel funerals, and you've been given the perspective from somebody who's never seen the films and from somebody who's a pretty big fan of the films and probably knows a little too much. But thank you. Thank you for joining us. We're going to do more of these, digging into various media and how we see them as far as funeral professionals. So if this is something you want to see more of, comment down below. If you have any suggestions for a funeral we missed or something we should have hit, my mind goes to that afterlife moment with Rocket and his friends during the 3rd film, If You Know, You Know. And if you can think of other series and things that we can jump into, we would love the input down below. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next.